Hello, Robs. We're back with the 17-Mile Horror by Dick Gessler, a 1981 novel from a Metro Detroit writer. This book is rather scarce. I've only found it online, and it's in 2 libraries that I can find. But he supposedly has another book, but I've never seen anything from him besides this. I happened to find this about a week ago at a Westland, Michigan estate sale. Let me find something to hold this frickin' thing down. Maybe I'll just hold it with my hand. Should just break the spine. Chapter 9. San Guthrie. Is it Sam Guthrie? I think it is Sam Guthrie. San Guthrie walked out of Walter's restaurant, feeling much better after he had put away a double hamburger, a large order of fries, and 5 cups of coffee. He hadn't eaten since breakfast, and his appetite was ravenous. As he approached his patrol car, he could hear the dispatcher's voice calling him. He slid under the wheel, closed the door, and picked up the mic. "This is Car 1, over. Car 1, please proceed to Levan Knoll and meet Officer Green. Make that a code 5, over. Roger, dispatch. I'm on my way." I wonder what Green's picked up, Sam thought as he made a left onto Mill Street and headed toward Edward Hines Drive. He made a right when he reached the main street of the park and turned on his flashers. Within minutes, he reached the site. He could see 3 patrol cars pulled into the parking area. As he brought his car to a stop, the tall young cop who'd been at the area earlier walked up to him. He got another one," Green blurted out. "I was just here 5 minutes before. I thought I heard something in the bushes, but I couldn't see nothing." "Son of a bitch," Sam swore as he got out of his car. "Where's the spot that you last saw the girl?" The young cop walked over to the edge of the thick row of bushes and pointed out to Sam where she was lying. Sam looked down at the red blanket, then looked at the dark row of bushes a few feet behind. Sam walked along the bushes until he came to the opening. "What's up, bruv?" He walked through the bushes and looked behind the thick hedge. He thought, "there's no road here. That's interesting." He knew that the MO of the previous abductions called for a road to be behind the bushes. He walked along the bushes until he came to a dirt road adjacent to the bushes. That explains it, Sam thought. He couldn't pull his car behind the bushes, so he would have to park it here, get the girl, and carry her back to the car. I'm reading this book, if I can ever fucking turn it. The 17-Mile Horror. It's a book by a nobody named Dick Gessler. He was just a normal Metro Detroit worker who wrote this in 1981. Son of a bitch. "Green, get my flashlight from the glove compartment." "Yes, sir, right away," the young cop replied as he ran to the chief's patrol car. Okay. Sam played the beam of his 5-cell flashlight along the row of the bushes. He was looking for the calling card that the abductor had left at the scene of the last 4 abductions. When he came to about 4 feet from the opening in the hedge, he spotted it. As he brought his light closer to the leaves, he could see the white, gooey substance. Flashing his light on the ground, he could see a pool of the milky material. As he looked down, he could see drops of the thick fluid still dripping from that leaves. "That leaves? That's great English. What the hell is that?" Green asked his chief as he looked at what Sam had found. "That, my dear boy, is cum, joy juice, or what the boys down at the lab call semen." I don't get it." Green looked at Sam, astonished. "Haven't you read the MO on this case?" Sam asked his young officer. "No, sir, I've just been assigned to the case. I'm sorry." "That's all right, Green. I forgot that you're new here. It seems that this guy, whoever or whatever he is, gets his rocks off before he grabs the girls." You mean, Green's face started to flush. He jacks off into the bushes before he goes for the girl. You got it, my boy. Crazy, huh? Sam reached in his pocket and pulled the plastic bag out. He carefully took a sample of the white substance and placed it in the envelope. He closed the bag and handed it to Green. Rush this down to the station. Give Peters a call at home. Tell him to get his ass down to the lab right away. I want this stuff tested before it gets too cold. Like that makes a difference. Sam walked back to the blanket. In the folds of the material, he saw a white bikini top. He reached down and picked up the flimsy garment. As he straightened up, something caught his eye. Sticking out from under the edge of the blanket, he saw what looked like a piece of cotton. He reached over and picked up the cotton pad. He held it to his nose, then quickly moved it away from his face. Whew, Sam exclaimed as he almost gagged from breathing the potent chemical. Chloroform. So that's how he does it. Sam placed the cotton pad in one of his many plastic bags that he always carried in his pockets. He walked back to the picnic table where two officers were talking to a young man dressed in cut-off shorts and a girl dressed in a blue string bikini. All right, guys, Sam addressed the two cops. What have we got? This guy here with the girl just before he got to her, one of the cops informed Sam. This guy here was with the girl just before he got to her, one of the cops informed Sam. Sam looked at the young man, typical jock, good-looking, well-built, tall, all the things that the girls digged. You want to tell me what happened, Sam asked the guy. Well, officer, he began, this chick and I were making out in that blanket, see? When we got through, I told her we'd better get our asses out of there before we got busted. It was close to park closing, and I figured that cop or officer would come back. She wanted to stay in the blanket, so I figured, fuck you, baby. It's your ass, so I left her there and walked back here to the table. One of the chicks here asked where she was. When I told her, we looked at the blanket, and she was gone. It all happened so fast. Did anyone see anything at all? Sam questioned the group of young couples. I saw a black LTD pull out from those bushes over there and haul ass down Hines Drive, a skinny kid in cutoffs told Sam. Did you happen to get his license number? I only made out the first few letters. They were VKM. Which direction did he take off in? Sam asked the skinny kid. He headed toward Merriman Road. Sam instructed the cops to check the row of bushes for any possible clues and asked them if they could find any tire tracks in the area that the car was seen. Sam unlocked the door to his office, walked in, and closed the door behind him. We walked over to his chair and almost fell into it. I'm guessing it's supposed to be he walked over, but it says we. He was completely bushed. He threw the bikini and the cotton pad on top of his desk. He had just lit his pipe and had the small office full of smoke when the phone rang. Chief, this is Peters. I just finished the sample you gave me. It's semen, just like the others. Peters, can you give me a sperma, or whatever you call that? Can you give me a count? Yeah, Chief, it's a high sperm count. In fact, because you got it to me while it was still warm, the count is a little higher. Peters, let me get this straight. In the other cases when the sperm was cold, could you still get a count? Yeah, Chief, we can. It doesn't matter if the sperm is warm or cold. Under a microscope, it's still possible to count the sperm. The only difference is that when the sperm is cold, they are dead. In this case, some were still moving. There's no question about it, Chief. All the samples came from the same man. Sam thanked Peters for the information. He wasn't sure if the samples could be used in a court of law. He didn't know at the moment what the legal ramifications were. For now, it was just another piece of the unsolved puzzle. The chloroform pad was another good find. He now knew how his abductor operated. Pretty clever, he thought. His next thought was, how could he obtain chloroform? He wasn't sure. However, the chemical was probably used in a laboratory or possibly a hospital. Could it be possible that his man worked in a hospital? Good thought, he told himself. The boy's description of the black LTD confirmed what he had been told by other witnesses. He now had the letters of the plate. There must be hundreds of plates with those letters, but maybe he might luck out when he checked on it and find one with a local address. Sam puffed on his pipe and found that it had gone out again. He reached for his matches and relit the large bowl. In a moment, he had the pipe red hot again. As he sat there blowing smoke rings, he again reflected on the events of the past 4 months. 5 abductions, and except for the cotton pad and a possible make on the car. He had no further clues. What did he do with the girls? Did he actually kill them, or is he keeping them for some ungodly reason? Why only girls with black hair? He seemed to pick on girls who were having sex. Did he have a thing about girls getting it on with a guy? As he sat there staring at the ceiling, puffing his pipe, Pete's name suddenly entered his thoughts. Nah, Sam, he told himself, what are you thinking about? How could a boy who was raised with such a strict upbringing as Pete have anything to do with such a horrible crime? And yet, let's forget that it's Pete. Let's suppose that he's just a suspect, someone whom I would be investigating in my everyday line of work. All right, Sam, he told himself. What do you have on Pete Worthington? Well, he answered his own question. Here we have a boy who was raised by his sister, a boy who was actually shy around girls, a boy who thought that the girls of today were immoral. Yeah, Sam thought, that part gets to me. It's not natural for a guy nowadays to turn down a piece of ass. Why, all you had to do was go to Hines Park and you'd get all that you could handle. That alone is not any reason to suspect Pete, he thought. What else do we have? Sam knocked the ashes out of his pipe and refilled the large bowl. He struck a match and in a minute had the small furnace going again. The fact that Pete was an undertaker could answer a question that had plagued him since the first abduction. How does our psycho get rid of the bodies? It would be simple if Pete was our suspect. He would merely dispose of them as any undertaker would. Bury them at a cemetery. No one would suspect. If he were my man, it would also answer the question, how did he purchase the chloroform? If an undertaker didn't use it in his embalming process, and he wasn't sure what they did use, he could purchase it from the chemical company where he obtained his chemicals. Yes, he thought. If I had Pete as a suspect, I could make a good case against him. Sam turned his chair around and looked out his office window at the traffic on Main Street. It was almost midnight, and there were few cars on the street. Would that be something, he asked himself, a killer operating only 2 blocks from the police station? Why, he could walk out the door and in 2 minutes be at the funeral home. Maybe I should go over and pay Pete a visit, he thought. Nah, that's all I would need. I'd go over there and Sarah would answer the door, and what would I tell her? I want to search the house because I think Pete is our killer? I'd make a fool out of myself. Still, I've always had an idea that this whole business is right under my nose. Maybe I've been so close to it I couldn't see it clearly. All right, Sammy continued his mental questioning. Suppose Pete is our killer. What is his motive? What reason would he have for abducting these girls and presumably killing them? Sam contemplated this question. What had happened that would turn a shy young man into a sadistic killer? Jenny's death, he thought, that could trigger something in his brain. He knew that after her death he was beside himself with grief. Was the relationship between them more than brother and sister? God, what a gruesome thought, he said out loud. Yet he knew of cases where that very thing happened. What did they call it? He asked himself. Necrophilia? Yeah, that was it. A guy who screwed dead bodies. The very thought of a man having sex with a corpse sickened him. And yet there were a lot of kooks out there, and he had seen his share. His thoughts went back to Ginny's funeral. Something was said that stuck in his craw all these months. What was it now? He tried to picture the day of the funeral. He remembered that after Ginny was buried, Pete had arranged to have a lunch served at the Masonic Temple for the many people who had come to pay their last respects to his sister. He remembered talking to a group of men that Pete had chosen as pallbearers. One of the men had commented on how light the coffin was. It was almost as if it were empty. Sam remembered that another pallbearer dismissed the idea by saying that Ginny had been very ill of late and that she had lost a lot of weight. Sam remembered that, at the time, he did not accept the explanation. He had seen Ginny only a few weeks before she died. She had attended her local flower guild meeting. After the meeting, because she was in the area, she decided to stop by and see Sam. He had taken her out to dinner at the Mayflower Inn. He had noticed that her face looked pale and drawn, but otherwise she looked like her old self. He remembered kidding about how she still had the figure of a girl in her teens. Sam turned around in his swivel chair. Why was the coffin empty? He didn't know for sure that it was, but it would explain what the pallbearer had commented on. If the coffin was empty, What did he do with her body? As he was contemplating this last question that he had put to himself and was trying to find an answer, the phone on his desk rang, disrupting his thoughts. Chief Guthrie speaking. Sam, what are you still doing down at the office? Don't you know what time it is? His wife sounded very irritated on the phone. Oh, hi, Betty. I'm working on this Hines Park thing. I think I may have the answer to the whole mess. You mean you know who the killer is? She sounded shocked by what her husband had told her. Now, Betty, don't jump to conclusions. I got a lot of circumstantial evidence and a lot of ideas that point to one man. It won't hold up in court. I've got to get something more concrete, something that the prosecutor can sink his teeth into. Sam, she hesitated, almost afraid to ask him, can you tell me who you suspect? No, Betty, the idea is so unbelievable, you'd think I was crazy. When I get some more facts on this thing, then I'll tell you. Sam, did you forget that you promised to take the kids fishing tomorrow? Damn it, Betty, I forgot all about it. This damn thing has got me going crazy. Do me a favor, will you? Tell them I'll take them on Sunday. Promise, she asked. I promise, Betty. I think I've got a few ideas about how I'm going to get the proof I need to nail down the guy I have in mind. I should be able to do that tomorrow. After Sam hung up the phone, he walked out of his office to the coffee machine down the hall. Chief Guthrie, a girl dressed in a police uniform who was manning the switchboard, addressed him. I didn't know that you were still here. We all figured that you went home. Yes, Sally. As you can see, I'm still burning the midnight oil. I'm trying to put the pieces together on this Hines Park thing. Do you have any idea who did it? The girl asked, putting her headphone down on the desk for a moment. Sam looked at her. He wanted to say, hell yes, my best friend did it. But instead he said, no, Sally, I'm going nuts trying to figure this thing out. The girl replaced her headphone. I just hope that we catch him soon. The guys on days told me that we're getting all kinds of calls from irate citizens complaining that we aren't doing anything to put a stop to these abductions. Sam walked up to the coffee machine, put a coin in the slot, and pushed a few buttons. He waited until the hot liquid filled the cup. When the cup was full, he removed it from the machine and walked up to the counter. Sally was responding to a call from an officer in a radio car. Sally? Sam placed his cup on the counter. You can tell the guys on days that with a little luck, this Hines Park mess will soon be over. Sally dropped her earphone and looked up at Sam, mouth open, as if she didn't believe what her chief was telling her. You mean you have a suspect? Let's just say that everything points to one individual. All I have to do now is prove out my theory. Sam picked up his coffee and walked back down the hall to his office, leaving the young girl sitting bewildered behind the desk. After Sam had his pipe going again, he returned to his mental questioning, which was his method of putting things in perspective whenever he was confronted by an unknown quantity, such as the case he was presently working. Now, what was he thinking about before he had gone for coffee? Oh yes, the coffin. Why was it empty? If it was indeed empty, what would he do with the body? The body. As Sam put this question to himself, he suddenly got a cold chill down his back. He could contemplate at least two possible answers to the question, and the answer to each was too horrible for him to comprehend. Good God, he thought, would he do such a thing? There is only one way that I can answer that question. I've got to get into that funeral home without Pete knowing it and talk to Sarah. If my theory is correct, she has got to know what's going on. Sam scribbled some notes on his scratch pad to remind him of what he wanted to do tomorrow. He wrote the name of Dr. Schwartz on the pad. Dr. Schwartz was a local psychiatrist with offices in Plymouth. Sam had gone to the doctor on a few occasions in the past. Sam felt that he must know what his killer was thinking. He figured that if he could show the doctor a pattern, maybe the doctor could give him an idea of what kind of behavioral pattern to look for. He intended to use Pete as a hypothetical case and see what the doctor could give him in the way of an explanation as to Pete's behavior. Sam wrote down, calling Lansing and check on license number. Call Lansing and check on license number. He hoped that with some luck he might turn up Pete's number. Sam got out of his chair and stretched his arms Well, he thought, that's enough for today. I'd better get on home. I'm going to have another busy day tomorrow. Sam pulled his car out of the City Hall parking lot and pulled onto Church Street. When he reached the corner of Church and South Harvey, he stopped the car and looked to his right at the white mansion that was the Worthington Funeral Home. Parked at the side entrance of the home was a black LTD. From the glow of the street lamps that surrounded the circle drive, he could just make out the number on the first plate, VKM 200. That just about does it, Sam thought, as he put the car in gear and headed out Penniman Avenue to his home. Hello, bros. We're back. I think I'm back. If I get this fucking book to move. Oh, that's a highlight. How do I get to the... I'm just going to end it. I think it's just easier to end it.